Generally speaking, intervention is a terrible way to promote human rights because, again, just look at the record. The record has been a disaster, one disaster after another disaster after another disaster. War produces, first of all, humanitarian intervention is a euphemism. What we're talking about here is war, all right? Violence, organized use of violence. And, war is a terrible way to promote human rights. And usually ends up making things worse than before. And it doesn't matter how much flowery rhetoric you use. People imagine that if you use flowery rhetoric, it somehow means, A, your motives are pure and the outcome will be good. And that makes no sense, and the record shows the opposite. So generally speaking, I'm pretty much against almost all military forms of intervention. Also, I might add, people tend to forget how expensive this is, the enormous expense. I mean, the Iraq War, I believe the current estimate for intervention in Iraq, the long-term estimate of the cost of the war to the U.S. alone, forget about the Iraqis, is about $5 billion, $5 trillion. The question is this: could we have done anything more useful in a humanitarian sense with $5 trillion? Can anybody possibly imagine what we could have done with $5 trillion? How many lives would be bettered and improved with $5 trillion? So, in economics, we have a phrase, opportunity cost. If you spend money on one thing, you don't spend it on another. If you spend money on war, you don't spend money improving people's lives. And so it seems to me that the whole idea of using war as a means to promote human rights is something that should be thrown into the dustbin of history completely, just based on the record, just based on the evidence that we have.